Just waiting on her to lick and chew. So one of those bottles or something is making a rattling noise. There she goes. Now that lick and chew doesn't mean that she's back down to 1 on my 1 to 10 scale. It means she went from 7 down to 6, or maybe 5. Okay, it doesn't mean that she's all the way down to calm and relaxed. It just means that she's starting to calm down. Good girl. Okay. Okay. So now what I'll do, since she passed that test better than I expected, what I'm going to do is put some driving lines on her and drive her with all this stuff on here. Okay? And I'm being pretty careful to stay where if she jumps or gets scared of something, she's not going to run over me. I'm trying anyway. Okay. So that would be an example of that. Okay. So you notice what I did when she did that? Pan back over here, please, Delaney. You see what I did when she did that? I did this. Why? Because one of us has to be the adult in the room. Okay? And it's a lot of times, I think, more important how you react or don't react than what the horse does. Okay? Because they take a lot of their cues from us. So if the horse reacts and gets panicky and then we go, oh, and start jumping up and down, screaming or whatever, then all we're doing is reinforcing their fear. But if they react and I just stand there and go, whatever, okay. Ooh, okay. Sorry, my lead rope, I just saw this a few minutes ago. My snap here has a bunch of sand in it and I can't get it off right now until I fix it. So that's why I just left it kind of hanging there. Okay, that wasn't too bad, girl. All right, so I'm just kind of trying to ground drive her as if all that stuff weren't hanging there. Okay. Whoa. Boy, she's doing really well. She's doing really well. You're a good girl, aren't you? You're a good girl. Yes, you are. Okay. I'm going to turn her into the fence here. I dropped one of my lines. Happens a lot. It's all right. And I know this looks pretty wild and western, and that's kind of the idea. Surely this is more stressful than me trotting around on her back, I would think. Good. Now let's see if she can make some turns without panicking. I'd like her to walk, is what I'd like. Ooh. Let me see if I can slow her down. She can't hear me. Because of all that noise, she can't hear me let my breath out. There we go. Good. Good. Okay. Good. Good. Okay. So while I'm working her slow, I'll just tell you one story. The Mustang that I mentioned earlier, Najoni, the Panicaholic Mustang, and it was the Mustang makeover, so I had 100 days to train that horse, and puts a lot of pressure on both of us with that kind of a time limit. So the first time I rode him outside the pen, I figured it wasn't going to go well, but it went worse than I thought. I lived at the time in southern Utah in the desert on the Navajo reservation, and there are no fences. So I ponied him 12 miles out into the desert, 12 miles from where we lived, and it's open country, no fences, just desert with those little bushes about this high everywhere. And I had a friend of mine with me riding another horse. And so I got on the Mustang. As soon as I got on him and squeezed him, he took off in a blind panic as fast as he could go, running away from those other horses. And you haven't lived until you've ridden a totally panicked Mustang running 35 miles an hour through the desert. And no way to, I couldn't bend him around or anything. And all those little bushes, which are about waist high, they're everywhere. And when he got to a bush, he'd either go right, left, or over it at 35 miles an hour. And tell you what, it was a ride. He ran at least 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles. And he finally slowed down enough that I could bend him around and stop him. So, I kind of thought, well, okay, he's all right. And I petted him, loved on him, said, all right, let's try it again. Boom, same thing happened. Took off in a blind panic, running as fast as he could go, jumping bushes and all that. Only ran about 1 mile the second time. So, same thing. I finally was able to calm him down enough to bend him around, stop him. And so I thought, well, okay, he's over it now. I can just ride him. Same thing happened. Third time, he took off, total blind panic, running as fast as he could go. When he finally stopped the third time, I decided it would be a good time to maybe rethink the plan. So how we ended up fixing that horse, had a good friend out there named Lewis, who was a real good cowboy. And it was Lewis's idea, actually. I got on my big saddle horse runner and snubbed that Mustang up to the saddle horn about this far. And Lewis got on the Mustang, and the Mustang take off, and he hit that rope, spin around, take off, hit that rope, spin around. So we rode him like that for 5 or 6 or 7 days. Actually, Lewis rode him. And each day we'd let the rope out about that much. So the second day was like this, third day like this, fourth day like this. And finally, after about 6 or 7 days, I said, what do you think, Lewis? And Lewis said, well, okay, I think we're all right, let's try it. We unsnapped the lead rope. And he still panicked and took off, but he would only run about 100 yards. And then he got to where he'd only run 50 yards. And so, that's how we got him over it. But if I hadn't had Lewis there, Lewis was a real good cowboy, real sticky rider. I don't know if I would have gotten it done. So, all right, thanks for coming along. I'll try to keep you updated on this mare. Rub the hide off of that girl. Rub the hide off of her. Okay.